Very good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Sanket Charka from Sinhagad Institute's Savitribai Phule, Pune University. We are starting with the lecture of Economic Analysis of Business Decision, in which we are at chapter number 5. In chapter number 5, it specifically focuses on the consideration of consumption function and investment function. So we have seen what is the meaning of consumption, what is the function of investment, and what is the concept of savings. In my last lecture, we have dealt with some of the theories of consumption and the investment functions with respect to the absolute theory of consumption, relative consumption theory, and the life cycle theory. So these are the three theories. Which the first theory was given by John Keynes, second was given by John Dusenberry, and life cycle theory is again propounded by an economist. The graph or graphical representation of the three theories of income, consumption, and the level of dependency. Now today we are moving towards the next chapter or the next subunit, which is called the liquidity preference theory of investment. So in the liquidity preference theory, Keynes said that the people value money for both the transaction of current business and its use as a store of wealth. So what is mean in simple terms? What is meant by liquidity? Liquidity means the amount of liquid cash or the amount of hard cash available with the individual for either savings purpose or for the expenditure purpose. Now, for example, your father gives you or your mother gives you every month 10,000 rupees in for your expenditure purpose. Now what do? Either you keep entire 10,000 money into your pocket, or either you will deposit this particular money into your bank account. Now a particular example wherein you are keeping this money into your pocket or into you are carrying or consuming this particular money on your day-to-day basis is an example of liquidity. Another example, now when the demand for the certain need or when the demand for a certain product was there into existence and you have demanded your parents 10,000 rupees. Now at this stage, if your parents give only 5,000 rupees to you, why? And after the because stating the reason that I don't have 5,000 rupees now, that is 10,000 rupees right now, I can give you only 5,000. Later 15 or 5,000 I'll give you by 20th of month. So in this case, what happened here, we can say that there is lack of liquidity with your parent. So if a particular person who is not able to satisfy, who is not able to fulfill the amount of money that has been required for a specific given period, then such in that particular case, we can say that there is either a positive liquidity or there is a negative liquidity. When a particular person is having the desired amount of money, desired amount of cash, or desired amount of liquid money available with him, then that particular consideration can be called as a positive liquidity. When a certain consideration, where the person is not having the availability of money with him, wherein the money whichever is required, whichever is desired, it is not available, in that case it can be called as a negative liquidity. Thus, they will sacrifice the ability to earn interest on money that they want to spend in the present, and they want to have it on a certain precautionary measures. Now, if a particular person is holding a certain sum of money in a liquid form, now in current example, what we are looking, a particular person having 10,000 rupees in cash and having 10,000 rupees into his bank account. Now, whenever a particular amount of money or a particular cash is available into your pocket, will it generate returns for you? No, the answer is no. Why? Because the money which is available in liquid form, which is available in a cash form, it cannot generate interest for you, and it cannot generate another part of an investment or a revenue for you. But in case you have taken this particular amount of money and you have deposited into the bank account, then what the bank will give to do? The bank will provide you the rate of interest at the rate of 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, whatever it may be. And accordingly, you will get the interest on the money that you keep into your savings, currents, or whichever type of account you are maintaining. In other case, or in other example, for example, you have kept this particular amount of money in fixed deposits, or you have invested this particular money in gold, debenture, bonds, equity, preference share, mutual fund, insurance, and so on. So there are different types of avenues in which you can invest a certain sum of money. So if a money gets invested in a certain perception or in a certain venture, then accordingly it creates a revenue for you. Then accordingly it creates a source of earning for you. But if a money is being kept as a hold, as a part of an holding, wherein you are holding the cash in a liquidity form, then accordingly it will not generate the revenue for you, and the rate of interest is also lost by that particular individual. So in other words, the rate of interest is determined by the matching of demand and supply of that particular liquidity. So as and when the need of the money has been required or it has been generated into a particular economy, the liquidity has been identified and the government sets the liquidity rate. Now, coming towards the position about who is the major contributor or who is the major participants for deciding the liquidity. So whenever we say the terms of liquidity, it is the central banking authority of the particular country, that is a specific country or a nation that we are looking for. So in terms of Indian economy, we have Reserve Bank of India and Ministry of Finance who are deciding or who are taking the decision about how the liquidity has to be maintained into a particular economy. So in order to decide the about how the liquidity can be maintained into economy, we have 3 or 4 factors. Now, what are those factors? First thing is the CRR, that is cash reserve ratio. Second is the SLR, that is statutory liquidity ratio. Next two is repo rate and reverse repo rate. Have you heard this particular terminologies earlier? Anyone? CRR, SLR, repo rate and reverse repo rate. These particular rates are decided by the central banking authority, that is Reserve Bank of India. Has anyone heard these type of rates of liquidity which has been set by RBI? It seems no one is interested to know. No problem. I will not continue. I will not explain what is CRR. So homework for you. Go back to your home, study what is CRR, SLR, repo and reverse repo, and then accordingly come back with the assignments. Now, according to the Keynes, the demand for liquidity is a result of 3 motives. So first motive is the transaction motive. Transaction motive specifically focuses on the constituent of a certain consideration wherein what amount of money is been required for conducting a level of transaction. So transaction motive specifically deals with the consideration about your requirement of money for day-to-day or daily expenditure purpose. So the money that is constantly available, that is, for example, in my early example, when my salary is rupees 50,000 and the monthly expenditure for a particular person is rupees 20,000, then accordingly 20,000 becomes your transaction motive, in which the amount of money or the liquidity that is determined, that has been required as per the income level. So as and when your income level increases, so accordingly your expenditure also increases, and hence the transaction that cannot be avoided, the money that has been required for your day-to-day consumption, day-to-day requirement, and which is for the transactional purpose or the purpose or motive, that particular motive is called as a transaction motive. Precautionary motive, people prefer to have the liquidity in the cause of social unexpected problems that need unusual cost. So any unforeseen circumstances that you need to arise, any precautionary measures that you want to make, and for that particular purpose, if you are investing or if you are putting in certain sum of money, then such type of money invested in a particular portion wherein you are trying to make a certain precautionary measures, that particular motive or a purpose is called as a precautionary motive. Speculative motive, the speculative motive specifically focuses on various type of speculation, that is increase or decrease in certain rates. So as and when the interest rate increases, accordingly your demand will decrease, and as and when the interest rate decreases, your demand will also decrease simultaneously. Now what is the correlation? The correlation with the speculative motive is already in relation to the CRR, SLR, repo and reverse repo. Now what is CRR, SLR, repo, reverse repo? You will study at home. I was ready to explain, but no one have answered. So correlation between speculative motive and CRR, SLR, and repo and reverse repo has to be identified, and then accordingly you take the decision about whether the rates will increase, whether the rates will decrease, whether you want to invest or whether you want to disinvest from a particular
Excuse me, sir.
motive or a certain venture. Yes.
So, repo rate means when a bank gives a loan for a particular person, then they cut the some amount of loans to resolve
No,
the security of the loan.
no, this is not the repo rate.
So repo rate means RBI give money to other banks, then return of that money. This rate is known as repo rate.
Return means what? Justify.
Return means RBI provide money as a loan to other banks. This is the rate return of this loan.
Return means what? Be very
Reserve,
specific when you are using
reserve,
financial terms.
reserve.
No, partially your answer is correct. Bhagyashri,
Okay.
are you there? Can you hear? Can you please explain? I hope you must be knowing this. Anyone from BCom? Students, commerce background?
Sir, RBI gives money to commercial bank when commercial bank have no funds. That is called repo rate.
No,
When sir
20%.
the commercial bank uh, when commercial banks put the security for the Reserve Bank, and beyond of that security, the Reserve Bank provide the loans for commercial banks. With some Reserve Bank when uh, uh, kept some money of behind that loans for secure.
No, no, no. Topic is diverted. That's the reason I had asked you. Do you know or do you have the clarity of repo, reverse repo, CRR, SLR? But no one was able to.
Hello, sir.
Yes, just a minute. Excuse me.
Sir, uh, the percent rate at which Reserve Bank lends money to commercial banks. Hello. Hello.
Yes, Vivek, you were saying something.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir. Hello. Hello, sir.
Hello? Yes, Vivek, you were saying something.
Sir, I'm audible, sir.
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, sir. Repo rate is the rate at which RBI lends money to commercial banks when they have a scarcity of funds.
Hmm?
Yes,
But
sir.
which rate?
Okay. So can I?
Yes, please.
So repo rate means RBI gives money to commercial bank beyond of the government bonds for the security, and reverse repo rate means RBI take money from the commercial bank for instead of inflation, sir, to control the money or control the inflation.
No.
These funds is known as government securities.
No clarity.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Vivek. Partially, Kunal
By
and
selling
Vivek,
their
they are on the track, but they are not able to answer or justify.
sir, they sell their securities to to RBI to maintain the liquidity in case of shortage of funds.
No, there is no selling of securities in case of repo.
Okay, sir.
Anyone commerce graduate? You must be knowing. Bhagyashri, can you hear me? I think you would be able to answer. as she is associated with RBI. Anyways, I'll go ahead. So that was the concern of transaction motive, precautionary motive, and speculative motive. Now, net present value. So the difference between the present value of cash inflow and the present value of cash outflow. NPV is used in capital budgeting to analyze the profitability of an investment of a particular project. So now coming towards the industry perspective or a particular sector specific. Now here in this case, the major consideration of identification of cash inflow, that is availability of liquidity, specifically deals with the consideration of net present value. So in our day-to-day expenditure, for people who are of a generalized status, that is of a foreign particular individual, the liquidity is available in terms of cash, it is available in terms of money that is available into our pocket. But in terms of industry, it is calculated in terms of NPV, that is net present value. Net present value is a particular determination wherein what is the difference between your present value of cash inflow. Now every day what we are seeing that either the value of rupee appreciates or either the value of rupee depreciates, that is in comparison to dollar. So always whenever we say that the rupee is depreciating, that in this case we are saying that dollar is appreciating. Whenever we say that dollar is appreciating, then rupee is depreciating. And when we say that dollar is depreciating, which means in reverse case, rupee is appreciating. So there is always a negative correlation between the dollar and rupee currency or any other currency wherever you are making the valuation as a certain perspectives. Now, when we identify the present value of money, now whenever we say that I have invested 10,000 rupees, always a particular investment can generate positive returns or investment can generate negative returns. Now, for example, fixed assets. In case of a building, in case of land, always the value gets appreciated. But in case of furnitures, fixtures, machinery, components, and so on, the value gets depreciated. So always in terms of an industry, in terms of a business organizations, we have to identify, we have to see whether the cash, based on your cash inflow, what is the cash outflow from that particular project. That is, if the inflow for a particular project. Now whenever I say that there is an inflow to a particular project, then for every year I'm investing a certain sum of money. A particular project costing rupees 10 crore or 10,000 crore, I cannot invest a certain amount of money, 10,000 crore immediately. So what will I do? I will invest a certain sum of money step by step. That is, in the first year 2,000 crore, in the second year 3,000 crore, in the third year again 2,000 crore, and again in the fourth year 3,000 crore. So 2, 3, 2, 3. So in this particular installment or in this particular slot, the cash inflow will be there. Now, what is the concept of cash outflow? The cash outflow is a particular consideration wherein entire amount, whenever it is being invested and when the output of the particular project is into existence, then the return that have been generated over a period of time. Over a period of time, in the sense, the particular project may give you returns at the 4th year also, or at the 10th year also, or at the 20th year also. So whenever the project starts giving the returns for you, and based on the particular time duration that you have identified, at what stage, at what point of time your investment of rupees 10,000 crore will be equal to the output of the 10,000 crore, such concept is called as a net present value. So if the present value of all future cash inflow is greater than the present value of all future cash outflow, then we can say that NPV is positive. So always we have to look for a certain consideration wherein within this specific time duration, the NPV has to be positive, and within the time duration, that is, for example, in our current case, if the present value of a particular money is rupees 10,000 crore and the duration is 4 years, then the project must get a revenue, then the project must earn a certain rate of interest or a certain rate of return at the rate of 4 years only, at the specific rate which is equal to the economic perspectives. If the opposite is true, then we can say that the NPV is negative. So if the project is giving negative results for you, if the project is into losses, then here in this case we can say that NP is negative, and accordingly the value becomes 0, or it becomes -1, -2, -3, -10, and so on. So ideally always the net present value has to be between 8% to 12%, which is a standard rate of return that is to be expected from a certain project that you are looking for. Rate of discount. So here the example of rate of discount. So whatever I have explained for you in a consideration in of an oral perspective, here in this case example is given for you. An approach to choosing the discount rate factor is decide whether the rate for which capital is needed for the project could return if invested in an alternative venture. So for example, the capital required for a project A, you can earn 5%, or you can earn a discounted rate of either 10%, 12%, 6%, or -5% also. So here in this case, the rate of discounted has to be identified, and accordingly we have to identify whether the NPV, that is net present value of a particular project, is positive or it is negative. Excuse me. Hello. टिपणीस मॅडमचा फोन होता, त्यांनी ते काहीतरी डेटा विचारलाय, त्याचं कन्फर्मेशन त्यांना द्यायचं आहे. कॉम्प्युटर किती आहे डेड स्टॉकला? 29. हां, प्रिंटर 3 आहे का 2 आहे? अरे हां, मग 2 ट्रान्सफर सांगू का? अच्छा, आणि अरे हां, मी ते पकडलं होतं, तर रेकॉर्डलाच नाही बरोबर. आणि LCD? हां, त्यांनी 2 सांगितले मॅडमने LCD. आणि UPS 1 सांगितला. तो शेख सरांच्या केबिन मधला? मग त्यांना 0 सांगू का काय करू? अच्छा, मग 1 सांगतो आणि मेकॅनिकल यूज असं म्हणतो. कम्प्युटर 29 सगळे आपल्याकडेच का? मेकॅनिकल किती? 1 2 3 4 5. मग 5 आपल्याकडे आणि रिमेनिंग 24 मेकॅनिकल. प्रिंटर 1 आपल्याकडे आहे आणि 2 ट्रान्सफर आहेत. LCD दोन्हीच्या दोन्ही आपल्याकडेच आहेत. बंद, मग काय लिहू? नॉट वर्किंग. आणि UPS 1 आहे, तो मेकॅनिकलला ट्रान्सफर केलेला आहे. बरं ठीक आहे, मग सांगतो असं. हो. अच्छा, बरं. अच्छा, ठीक आहे चालेल. हो, ओके, थँक्यू सर. चालू आहे, माझे भरणे झालेत सगळे मार्क. आता मॅडम दोघी भरत आहेत. ते आता ॲलोकेशन व्हायचं आहे ना अजून सगळ्या सब्जेक्टचं. 16 पॅटर्न पूर्ण झाला. हां, हो ठीक आहे, ओके. मग ते फिल्टर लागताना तसं येतो ना तो.
नाही, आपल्या याच्यात पण तसे सिक्वेन्स नाही येत ना. मग
फिल्टरला 1 असतो ना, तर ती 1 ची सिरियल सगळी घेतो, मग 2 ची सिरियल सगळी घेतो, मग 3 ची सिरियल असं आहे. त्याच्यात PRN नंबर प्रमाणे सिक्वेन्स असते ना स्टुडंटची.
पण आपण असं नव्हतं भरत ना आधी, आपण हे ते सेम यायची.
मग त्यांनी काल घाई केली मला प्रिंट काढण्यासाठी, म्हणून ते गोंधळ झालेला आहे.
मग करू शकतो का आपण सिक्वेन्स?
आता कर, चालू द्या. होतात.
गोंधळ झाला तर
तुम्ही दोघी तर होऊ शकता ना.
दोघीचा प्रश्न नाही, 1 तास जाईल, अर्धा तासाचं काम.
मी फायनान्सचे मार्क 5 मिनिटात भरले.
तुम्ही एक्सपर्ट आहे हो.
मी तुम्हाला टेक्निक दाखवतो, थांबा नंतर. हां, तोपर्यंत छोटे छोटे सब्जेक्ट भरा ना, HR चे भरा, मार्केटिंगला वेळ लागतो तर. Okay, coming back to the lecture, investment is divided into 3 types: investment, initial investment, future cash inflow, and the rate of discount. So 3 factors that are affecting or that are impacting your rate of investment or your investment proposal is your initial investment. So here always we have to identify what is the amount of initial investment that you are looking for a certain project. So based on the investment amount, you have to always look for a certain consideration that what will be the consumption, what will be the requirement of a certain amount, what will be the availability of that particular finances or that particular money that has been required over a period of time. So based on the time duration, whether that money can be made available or whether it cannot be made available, and accordingly, hence we have to decide that consideration. Future and cash inflow, depending on the consideration about what will be the rate of discount. So based on the rate of the discount, based on the rate of inflation and all those particular consideration, the future cash inflow has been decided that during what duration the particular project will give or generate the returns for you. That is what will be the payback period. Payback period will be either 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and so on. And a payback period depends on which consideration. It depends on the rate of discount and the rate of return that particular project is identified. So always a particular consideration with respect to the cash inflow and cash outflow has to be undertaken. The duration for a certain project, that has to be also needed to be identified, and for what initial investment that you are looking for. All these 3 components has to be taken into consideration. Now, what are the various factors that determine the consumption? So now moving towards back to the consumption. there are two factors that determine the consumption. The first factor is the subjective factor, and second is the objective factor. Now, factors of subjective factors is the first consideration is the human nature. Now, why human nature is called as a subjective factor? Because always our rate of consumption depends on the nature of a particular individual. So, as and when you feel, for example, if today if you are feeling that you want 1 kg of sugar, then accordingly you can purchase only 1 kg of sugar. Tomorrow, if you feel that you want 5 kg of sugar, again you can if the money is available with you, then you can purchase 5 kg of sugar. Again, if you feel that you don't want to purchase sugar, then accordingly depend on the human nature. So your consumption always changes on your based on your mentality. So accordingly, whenever the human mentality, the psychology of a particular individual changes, so accordingly his demand or supply of a certain commodity or need for a certain commodity keeps on changing. Objective factors. Now, what is the meaning of objective factors? That is, what are the various other additional factors based on which the consumption of a particular people can change. First is the level of income. So based on your level of income, so external forces. Subjective factors are specifically are the part of the internal forces, and objective factors are the part of an external forces. So level of income. So accordingly, if your level of income increases, so accordingly your consumption pattern may increase or the consumption pattern may decrease as and when the need arises. Today, for example, if 10 rupees available with me, I can purchase only 10 grams of sugar. Tomorrow, if 1000 rupees are available with me, I can purchase 10 kg or 50 kgs of sugar also. So based on the level of income, based on the amount of money which is available with me, I can purchase or I can sell or I can take my decision of purchasing and selling a certain commodity. Next consideration, distribution of wealth. So how is your wealth divided, or how is your wealth distributed? Now, distribution of wealth depends on a certain consideration about how you are trying to identify a wealth of a particular individual, whether the wealth is associated with a fixed income, lower income, liquidity income, stock holding income, and so on. So how is your distribution of wealth of a particular individual or a particular person? Based on that consideration, we have to identify about the return that can be generated for an individual. Expectations in change in the price rise. So if a particular individual is expecting that the price may change in, or the price may increase or decrease in a certain future rate, then accordingly based on those considerations he can take a certain decision about whether the price increase is beneficial or whether price decrease is beneficial. So a certain expectations of changes in the price is of a certain consideration wherein the purchase decision gets impacted, and you may purchase a higher quantity or you may purchase a lower quantity. Based on the law of demand. What does the law of demand says? That if the price decreases, the quantity demanded increases. So expectations of changes in the price. So if the consumer are expecting that the price may reduce or the price may fall in future, then accordingly they may stop their purchasing of a certain commodity, and hence they may postpone their purchase decision. If they are expecting that the price may rise in future, then accordingly they may purchase the commodity of a certain product at a very higher rate or a higher quantity, and accordingly the purchase decision may be shifted from a future origin to a present origin. Change in the rate of interest. So rate of interest is a particular consideration wherein if we are expecting that the rate of interest may increase or rate of interest may decrease, then accordingly our purchase or sell decision also changes. Now on 31st of March, what happened? Honorable Finance Minister has given a certain decision that the rate of interest are reducing. So accordingly, there was agitation in the Indian economy. People started to boycott all these particular goods and services. People started to make agitation and shout on the street, stating that this is not a good decision and it will impact the liquidity and savings of a particular individual. So here in this case, you have to identify what is the rate of savings available for a particular constitution, what is the rate of interest on your saving account, current account, bank deposit, fixed deposits, mutual funds, public provident funds, post savings, and so on. So accordingly, a rate of savings of a particular individual also determines and it impacts about objective factors of your consumption. That is, it differs or it takes into consideration about what money will be available with a particular individual for expenditure purpose. Changes in the fiscal policy. Fiscal policy specifically means with the consideration about the government that is taking the decision about how and in what way the money has to be invested and how the money is needed to be made available for the government expenditure. Fiscal policy specifically focuses on the consideration of expenditure of the government on various avenues, various projects for the development of society or for the development of nation. Monetary policy specifically focuses on the consideration or the need of requirement of an individual, but fiscal policy specifically focuses on the need and requirement of government. So what money or what fund the government will be requiring, from which sources the money can be generated or it can be raised, and from at what places or what ventures the money will be invested or it can be used to. availability of goods. So availability of goods specifically deals with the consideration of applicability of factors of production. That is, how do you utilize or how do you use land, labor, capital, enterprise, and resources, and how they are put to use, or how the benefit is generated for the manufacturing or production activity. And lastly, the objective factors with respect to the attitude towards the savings. So what people are preferring, whether they are preferring for savings, whether they are preferring for investment, whether they are preferring for expenditure, and so on. So what is the preference or what is the attitude of a people towards the various products? Next thing, we have factors determining the investment. So earlier we have seen factor determining the consumption. Now we will look into the consideration of factor determining the investment. So first, there are two primary factors that influence the income level of a particular investment, that is income and the interest rate. So as an increase in income encourages higher investment from both the firms also and from the individual consumers also. So income level plays an important role, wherein if your income level increases, today if my income is 50,000 and tomorrow my income becomes 70,000 or tomorrow my income becomes 1 lakh, then accordingly my investment also increases in the same proportion. Interest rate, so depend on the interest rate, whether it is a repo rate, reverse repo rate, CRR, SLR, whatever rate that has been prevailing or which is been decided by the Reserve Bank of India. Based on the constitution, you have to identify, you have to decide about where the investment has to be made for. If the rate of interest in PPF is more, then the people will start investing in that particular venture. If the rate of interest or the rate of return on mutual fund, debenture, equity, stocks, bonds, commercial markets, gold market, or derivatives market is more, then accordingly people will move towards the investment into that particular perspectives. So here in this case, interest rate differs, and accordingly everyone has to decide about what is the change in the interest rates and how the rate of return can be generated. Or theoretical perspectives, you can read it later. Now the correlation between the investment and income. So here in this case, you can see that a stable income. So now these particular set factors determining the investment, that is income and interest rate. So a certain, if the rate of interest, if the rate of income is quite fixed for a certain individual from 0 to Y1, then accordingly his investment is also nil, his investment is not possible. But if the income starts increasing, that is from Y1 to Y2 to Y2 to Y3, or Y1 to L1, L1 to L2, L2 to L3, and so on, and accordingly in that particular same proportion, your investment also starts increasing from 0 to I1, I2, and I3. So if the income level increases, so accordingly your investment level also increases. Correlation between the interest rate. So if there is a increase or a decrease in the interest rate, so if the interest rate is increasing from 6 to 8, so accordingly your investment per year is also increasing from $950 to $1,000. And if the interest rate is decreasing from 8 to 6, so accordingly your interest rate also decreases from a certain consideration or from a certain perception. Determinants of savings. So we have seen determinants of consumption, determinants of investment. Now let's look at the section of determinants of savings. The major three determinants of the savings are income level, production level, and consumerism. So income level is applicable on all the three perspectives, wherein it is a major factor wherein as and when the income of a particular individual consumer changes, whether the consumer is a part of an household or is a part of a national income level. So here in this case, the income level of a particular individual identifies and determines about what will be the amount of savings available with the particular individual. So if your income increases, so accordingly your consumption will also increase, your investment will also increase, and so accordingly your income or your savings will also increase in the simultaneous way. Production level, as and when the production level also increases. So if there is more production into the economy, so accordingly the savings of an individual also starts increasing. That is, there will be no more number of goods and services available into the economy, and accordingly there will be stability of prices that can be maintained. So if the prices are stable, if the prices that are being generated in a particular economy with respect to the commodity, goods and services, if they are quite stable, then accordingly the production level can also be maintained in a stable way, and accordingly there can be a balanced growth of economic development. And lastly, the consumerism. Consumerism specifically focuses on a consideration about what is the need requirement of the goods and services over a period of time. So whenever the consumer needs certain amount of goods and services, so based on the consideration of the need, want, desire of a particular individual, which products are demanded, which products are supplied, how much quantity has been demanded and supplied, everything has to be maintained in a balanced way, and then accordingly the decision of consumerism has to be undertaken. Some financial decision of the public sector also plays an important. So explanation with respect to the public sector and private sector and the country's population perspective is been explained in this particular slide. Again, a case study for you, a comparative study in consumption function in Iran and India. So homework for you. Case study of comparison of consumption function. Earlier, last lecture, I have given you case study for MPS, marginal propensity to save, and the country that we have taken is Germany. A comparison of Germany with respect to the impact on European economy. Now, case study second specifically focuses on the consumption function in Iran and consumption function in India. So certain highlights of the case study abstract has been given for you. India and Iran are two oldest countries in Asia, and both are transition countries in the world. Both countries have several 5-year plans to increasing the real per capita income of the growth rate and GDP is into existence. Both countries are demonstrating similar problems like high unemployment rate for the educated people, poverty is there, high growth rate of the population, and so on. So all the similarity between the case has been identified. The main objective, that is again what you have to see, the major consideration of the MPC, that is marginal propensity to consume. So this particular consideration has to be taken into account, and then you have to compare the wealth of both the countries. So wealth of Iran, wealth of India, and how and whether the MPC is increasing or whether the MPC is decreasing, and at what rate it is either increasing or decreasing. Growth rate of India at 8%, growth rate of Iran at 3.9%, GDP of India at 2908 and 410 of Iran, and per capita GDP growth rate is 3.7 for India and 2.6 for Iran. So accordingly, you have to make the comparison, you have to make the calculations of MPC, MPS based on the consideration of savings pattern. This particular theory specifically focuses on the consumption function. So here your major focus or thrust will be on consumption and not on the part of savings or expenditure. Who is this? Please mute yourself. Okay. Moving ahead, MPC out of wealth. So what is the marginal propensity to consume that has been created out of the wealth perspective? For India, it is 0.221 and for Iran, it is 0.189. MPC out of income, it is 0.672 and for Iran, it is 0.541. Now make a comparison. Now here you can see that GDP in billions of dollars, whereas in case of India, it is 2908 and Iran, it's 410. Now make a comparison and make an identification with respect to MPC out of wealth. India stands at 0.221, whereas Iran stands at 0.189, which is quite higher and quite better. There is no much huge difference in this particular slide, but here you can see a greater huge difference, that is where is 410 and where is 2908, that is almost 2,500 billion dollars, a huge difference. But still, why there is low MPC growth rate of India? So this is the question for you to identify. Again, why there is a less amount of availability of out of income. So major differentiation in MPC out of wealth and MPC out of income. Case study for you. Here you can see for India and Iran, there is no much difference of wealth and income MPC. Conclusion. So based on all these calculations you have to do, and you have to identify what are the various calculations and what is your learning from this case study. All the study material is available on the internet. You can go back to the historical perspective. You can find out the 5-year plans of Iran and India, and accordingly you have to make the comparison of comparative study between consumption function in Iran and India. Statistics has also been provided for you, and that's all for the learners, the information that I need to provide. Thank you so much everyone for joining. Good day. We conclude for today's lecture. If you have any difficulty at this stage, you can please unmute yourself and ask the questions. Something Mr. Vivek has mentioned in the chat box, that the rate at which RBI lends money to commercial banks against the government securities. Correct. Your answer is correct, but which rate? What do we call it? Can you give an example? Hello?
Rate of interest.
Yes, exactly. It is the rate of interest that we are speaking of. CRR, SLR, repo, reverse repo, it's the rate of interest. Repo and reverse repo refers to the rate of interest that we are looking for. So in continuation to the explanation given by Mr. Vivek, and someone other person has also given it. I don't remember the name. So the rate of interest at which RBI lends money to commercial banks. So what happens if commercial bank, that is the banking industry into the Indian economy, if they are taking loan, if they are taking the lending facility from the RBI, and whatever the rate of interest that is being charged by the RBI, so that particular rate of interest is called as an repo rate. And what is reverse repo? No one have said of CRR and SLR.
Sir, yes, sir.
Hmm.
Sir, reverse repo rate is the rate at which RBI borrow money from commercial banks.
Good, nice.
Yes, sir.
CRR, SLR, cash reserve ratio and statutory liquidity ratio. No one? When I asked you, everyone was saying that yes, sir, we know this particular concept. And now whenever a question is being asked, you are not able to answer. As a management student, you must be familiar with these terminologies.
CRR is the minimum percentage of bank deposit in the form of cash.
Bank deposit with whom? In the form of cash. You must be, either there is a situation that you must be knowing the concept, but you are not able to speak. So please speak up. Okay, would anyone like to speak in Hindi? Would you like to explain? You can. Or you can explain with an example also. Hurry up quickly.
Hello, sir. Sir, statutory liquidity ratio is the minimum percentage of deposits that bank has to maintain in the form of gold or cash.
Which bank?
Yes, sir. Commercial banks.
Commercial banks, because whenever we say banks,
Yes.
you have to be specific whether it is Reserve Bank, that is a central bank, or the commercial banks. CRR?
Yes, sir.
CRR. Cash reserve ratio. That question is unanswered.
Percentage of bank deposit. Yes.
It wasn't picked up by people. What do you mean to say? Anyways, chalo. Thank you everyone for joining. You are not interested, you are not speaking up, not interested in learning the additional topics. So I cannot help you out. If you want to lose yourself, you are ready to lose. I cannot do anything. Can someone drop the attendance link? Rishikesh, are you there? Soham? Yes, Dada.
Sir, CRR means cash reserve rate. When the commercial bank used to loan any particular person, they kept some money for the reserve for the secure that loan.
No, it is not a loan. Or it is
Sir.
not a rate of interest also.
Sir.
Sir, the RBI gives to money,
Sir, RBI
lend money to the banks, and they can't give the whole loan to the other people. They reserve some money.
No.
Sir, RBI provide a loan. to commercial banks, then उस लोन में से कुछ पार्ट आरबीआई अपने पास ही रखता है.
No.
So it's a certain minimum amount of deposit that commercial banks have to hold reserve with the central bank.
True. Correct. Good. Central amount of money, a
So
certain amount of
minimum
deposits
percentage of
that every commercial bank has to maintain with Reserve Bank of India. That particular amount is
Yes,
called as an CRR, that is cash reserve
Yeah.
ratio. Statutory liquidity ratio. Now CRR you are maintaining with Reserve Bank and SLR you are maintaining with yourself. That is the commercial bank has to maintain such amount of liquidity. What is the liquidity? Now abhi humne just now we have seen the concept of liquidity, which specifically mentions about the liquid cash or hard cash. So statutory liquidity ratio, that is utna amount of cash, utna amount of liquid cash or utna amount of money you have to maintain with your bank. So whenever you send, for example, whenever a particular bank closes, on in each and every bank a certain percentage of a particular money is kept as a certain part of a deposit every day. That is, if the total transaction for a particular day is rupees 10 lakhs or 10 crore, so out of 10 lakhs they have to maintain 1 lakh of deposit or 1 lakh of stock into the bank deposits, that is within the branch. So that is SLR. And what is a CRR? CRR specifically means with a certain consideration, that is, if your total business for a particular day is 10 lakhs, then out of this particular 10 lakhs, you have to send a certain amount of money to the Reserve Bank, that is Central Banking Authority. So out of the 10 lakhs, for example, the CRR rate is 25%, then accordingly 2,50,000 has to be sent to the Reserve Bank of India. CRR maintained with the Reserve Bank and SLR maintained with the commercial banks themselves. Chalo, it's 1:12. Soham has dropped the link. Have you marked the attendance?